In today's video, we are going to be going deeper than just surface level attraction because, of course, it does play a part in how people obviously perceive you and how they are attracted to you. But there is such thing called magnetism, and that's what we're going to be covering in today's video. Because you could look the part, the 10 out of 10, jawline, abs. What if you're dull in character? What if your light switch is not turned on? Do people stick around? Because sure, you can have a pretty face, but what's beneath the surface? And that is magnetism. It's you being completely who you are, and things are attracted to you because of who you are. And your physical is just one part of that. So let's get into today's video. The first thing that truly makes a man magnetic has everything to do with how he accepts himself, especially in a world where men are taught to hide who they are. Whether it's being told your masculinity, who you are as a man, is inherently toxic, whether it's to hide your emotions, because if you show your emotions, it makes you too feminine, or you have to project this alter ego that protects you from your pain. See, where I'm getting at is when a man can fully own himself in today's world, regardless of the outside factors, a man who can actually take whatever has been a part of his life, embrace it to such a degree that there has always been a lesson that has been learned. And not only does this magnetism come from self acceptance, but it also comes from self acknowledgement. You acknowledging your power, even in moments where you have felt powerless. Now, men, I'm sure there's been times in your life where things didn't go as planned. People betrayed you, people left you, you got hurt, you were in pain, challenges, all these things can pile up, not just in a man's life, in a woman's life as well. But guess what? That is what we signed up for, being human beings on this planet. So, a man who has conscious awareness over not only his part in today's world, but also not placing blame on the things that have already been. I think a lot of people unconsciously play out this storyline of being a victim of every single thing in their life, their parents, their siblings, their career, the people they don't like, relationships not working out, why they don't have money. It can become so mind consuming that you don't know how to take yourself out of the storyline. And that's why self acceptance is number one. If you don't accept yourself, you're in either denial of yourself, ignorance to yourself, or just complete avoidance of who you are. And when a man lives in avoidance to his own voice, his own purpose, his own values, all of the things that really make a man solid in not just who he is, but how he lives his life. And then, therefore, how people are either attracted to him or repelled from him. And a lot of people like to play it safe. You like to go with the grain, go with whatever is popular in today's society, even if it's things that you know you don't stand for, but you don't want to be called out, you don't want to be judged, you want to blend in. And magnetism doesn't happen from you choosing to blend in. It actually happens when you decide to stand out, but not stand out in a way where you're trying to perform and gain attention. It's by declaring yourself worthy as you are. And when a man can do this for himself, a lot of things will crumble in your life. Mind-made narratives that keep you almost stuck in this one way of living. But when you can actually pause that story and actually take a step back and be like, why am I participating in something I don't even want? Then that is the time where you get to step up and become the best version of yourself by having enough courage to look within. And magnetism always comes from within. So that's the first place to start. Now, the second piece to this equation when it comes to magnetism has everything to do with your presence. Are you online or are you offline? Do you live a life of dullness or do you live a life of vibrancy, of color? And this is where a lot of people, not just men, but women, fall short in their life. They don't prioritize the things that matter to them. And the things that matter to you will naturally put you into a state of presence. Whether it's writing, whether it's making music, whether it's even just going to the gym or going for walks, walking your dog, little things like that that put you in states of presence. And you intentionally do that on a daily basis, not only are you magnetic, but you're showcasing your value. And your value has everything to do with, honestly, the actions you take on a reoccurring basis. Because most likely we view people as valuable when we haven't met another person quite like them. There's something about them that has stuck. And there's people out there, you just have one conversation with them, and they're so engaged with that conversation. They ask really great questions. You can tell that they live a life of fulfillment. And I think there's obviously parts within every single person's life where it's harder to show up for. But making time for things that matter to you and you actually putting time into those things, you're not only gaining energy, but you're allowing yourself to show yourself you're worthy. You're worthy of making time for things that matter to you. And I don't think there's a lot of people that feel worthy in the world, deserving of the things that they want. And that's why I always recommend, in almost honestly a lot of my videos, to look into your belief systems. Why do you believe the things you believe in? Why do you believe there's only this one way of living? Expand your horizon. Think outside of the box. People who are vibrant usually live a life of spiritual and physical alignment. Now, we are in this physical human suit, but internally, we have a whole world that is unseen. And within the unseen, that is where all potential lies. So, a man who believes in his potential, has presence to consciously actually think about the things he wants in life, is therefore a man who can fully embrace all spectrums of what life has to offer. And within every single area, there are seeds that are actually flourishing, that are blooming, because he doesn't run away from his darkness. He doesn't run away from another person's darkness. There's a natural depth to this man, one that cannot be ignored, one that isn't just put on for show. The part of his heart that has been completely blasted open because he actually gives himself the love that he once craved from the outside world through people. But he realized that no one's coming to save him. So the very fact that you can place yourself as the main character in your life naturally puts you in a position of being magnetic because you're not in the back of the line. You're not an extra in another person's movie. You are the starring role. And that's possible for every single person. You just have to put yourself in that role and watch yourself not only shine, but learn learn the lines of which you want to embody. The man you want to embody, a man who is unapologetically himself. And also to add, a man who doesn't really like who he is right now. Let's stay here for a second, because I know there's a lot of people who can absorb these words and you can find motivation from them, but you don't know what to do with them because once you close this video, you're like, okay, but now I'm back with me. I'm back with the parts of myself that make me feel very uncomfortable. I'm out of shape. I don't know what to do with my life. I don't like my career. I don't have a good relationship. Or you're in a relationship, but you don't see any area of improvements there. It all starts with you. And that's where I want you to focus, is you. Don't focus on other people and pleasing other people. Don't focus on how you can show up and be the best version for other people. Do it for you. Make you the primary source of motivation. Because when you do that, you're not cutting yourself short. You're giving to yourself, maybe for the very first time, because you realize it's no one else's job to do that. And that's why it's one of my primary missions, at least in this chapter of my life, to speak life into men. Because you guys are really powerful. And I don't think you guys are really told that enough, but it's true. And where are you discounting your very potential? Where are you second guessing who you are because you're comparing yourself to another person, a person who has never, ever, and will never walk a day in your shoes? Stop idolizing people. Stop idolizing people. That is a great recipe to build self-confidence, is actually putting yourself on a pedestal for once, but not doing it to be above people. No, it's to actually raise yourself up to meet the types of people you want to surround yourself with because they're higher vibration than maybe the timeline you're living in now. And magnetism is created from daily habits, from your self-talk, from your belief systems, from you no longer being a victim, but being a victor of your life and taking charge, taking ownership, taking accountability, and therefore accessing freedom that will be handed to you because you're no longer tied up in a reality you don't want to be living in. And you can still be in that reality and have your eyes set on a new one and show up each day putting a building block, a building block, and a building block. And you will see a new foundation appear. But there may be parts of yourself that have to fall away in order for you to rise. So look into that. Look where your blockages are, and therefore you will be set free as a new man. And that is a recipe for magnetism, okay? That's the real straightforward answer. It comes from within. So if you guys like today's video and you want any further assistance with really unlocking that magnetism, that confidence, that attractiveness, that has nothing to do with the outside, but more so to do with the inside, I do offer one-on-one coaching where you and I can work together. So if that interests you, my coaching email will be right here as well as linked down below. So please feel free to reach out to me. And without further ado, you guys, give this video a like, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.